Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bay Area Case Studies Virtual College Fair. I'd like to thank you all for joining us this evening. Just a few housekeeping items before we do get started. There is a Q&A button located at the bottom of your screen, which you can use to ask questions to our presenters at any time. If you do have a question for a specific college, be sure to mention that college within your question, and your camera and microphone are turned off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available at the same site where you registered, which is strivescan.com/BACS. Now, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our first institution, which is Villanova University.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Patrick Gournay. I'm one of the assistant directors at Villanova University. Happy to share a little bit about Villanova in this 6-minute time frame, and of course, happy to help you learn more following the session if you'd like. With Villanova, the first thing I talk about is our campus and our setup. So we are a medium-sized school, more that traditional residential style, as you can see in the photograph below. We're home to about 6,700 undergraduates. Those undergraduates come from nearly every state in the country, as well as about 40 countries abroad. So great mix of folks that we're bringing from a variety of backgrounds, both geographically, family-wise, school-wise, and all coming to Villanova to make their own home. Villanova in Latin, for any of those Latin scholars out there, does translate to new home. With our campus, we're situated in Philadelphia. We're about 10, 12 miles west of downtown Philly, as you can see there on the horizon. One perk of the East Coast is that great transit network, and I guess it's really accessible on Villanova's campus, as we have 3 different train stops to take you into downtown, as well as the rest of the city. With campus, most things are about a 15-minute walk from place to place. And if you can see where my mouse is hovering now, that's called our South Campus. It's really nice, as that's where our entire first-year class lives. So you get to have your own micro community, be with people that are in the same boat as you, away from home for the first time for that long duration. You have your own dining hall there, your own green space, yet you remain just about a 5-minute, 10-minute walk to most of your classes on campus. So again, that's just a little setup in terms of where we are. I joke, being a Californian myself, I say that one thing in making the transition to Philly for any of you is that there is a Trader Joe's within about 3 miles of campus. So, that part of home, you don't have to totally leave behind if that gives you any comfort or solace. With Villanova, we're home to 4 different colleges, those being a College of Arts and Sciences, a School of Business, a College of Engineering, and a School of Nursing. You as a student in our application process would be applying directly to one of these colleges. In the case of our sciences, as well as engineering and nursing, you would be applying to directly to a specific major. So that's just a little snapshot of what the academics look like. Know that because of the structure of the 4 colleges, it does mean there's a bit of rigidity in that students can't double major across colleges, but it is very common for students to double major within colleges, most commonly in business and arts and sciences. But an exception to that rigidity is that you can take classes or pursue minors in other colleges if you wish. So just a lot of that synergy, and something that you'll see highlighted with my colleagues and the colleges that they'll represent tonight. Some other facets that are going to accentuate or enhance those inside the classroom learning opportunities. Study abroad, about 40% of our students take part in that, and something that can be facilitated with all the majors at Villanova, as there are 60 different programs that we offer. Also, in terms of research, that being really accessible, and most notably for incoming students, we offer a first-year research program. So that's what allow you to take part in a research project in the spring semester of your freshman year, the entire semester, about 10 hours a week. So a great way, again, to get your sea legs, if you will, for what that collegiate research atmosphere is going to look like. Talk about our history briefly. We're the nation's one and only Catholic and Augustinian institution. We've been around for a little over 175 years. In those decades, we have progressed a lot in terms of being a smaller school, a regional school, to now at the point being more of a national university. And with that heritage or that history, who we are, a tradition, there is a core curriculum, or the grounding in the liberal arts that all of our students have, skills that we think are going to accentuate all of the different majors and minors that we do offer as an institution. Then before I address the deadlines, to talk a little bit about our campus community. Very rich and a very tight-knit community, as you'll hear with the other schools tonight, and how those are inculcated there on their respective campuses. In our case, some of that shared identity or that shared social fabric is definitely most identified or presents itself in terms of the community service we do as a school. Annually, it's about 250,000 hours, with 2 main events being a Special Olympics event as well as a day of service in the Metro Philly area. And then athletically, some people know us for that, our basketball successes in our women's and men's program. And again, students, that's something that they really enjoy partaking in, the part of that school pride and loyalty. But I think there's a great ripple effect that while those are two areas all students really participate in during their years, that really spills over to the rest of our clubs and organizations and helps create that rich community we have as a student body. On the Common Apps deadlines and that side of things, we are a school that utilizes the Common Application exclusively. We are test optional, or we're test optional for the first time this year, and we will also be test optional for the coming class. So those of you that are juniors in high school, there's no need to feel like you have to have the SAT or ACT in order to apply. Those different deadlines with early action and early decision, and January 15th being regular decision and early decision 2. When it comes to financial assistance, about 70% of our student body receives aid, with the average package being about $35,000. In order to be eligible, we do require the FAFSA form as well as the CSS profile. There are a number of other merit scholarships our office maintains to facilitate assistance. And know that, again, we take that wide variety of context and students' background into consideration, looking at your school, your family, your home background. All those things are going to play in as we utilize the holistic approach, which, again, a lot of my colleagues will reiterate. And then we have a variety of ways for you to continue to get to know us going forward, these different social media platforms, and we do hope to allow in-person campus tours this coming summer. With that said, please submit any questions you might have in the Q&A. I'll be happy to answer those, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Villanova, for that presentation. Up next, we have Lewis and Clark College.
Nope, now I'm unmuted. All right. Well, welcome. My name is Holly. I am the Associate Vice President for Admissions at Lewis and Clark College. And we are a small private liberal arts college located in Portland, Oregon. We are a private college with a public conscience and global reach. We have about 2,000 undergraduate students on our campus. We do have a law school, the #1 environmental law program in the country, and we also have a graduate school of education and counseling. And both of those have separate campuses very near ours, right across the street. But we're really dedicated to the undergraduate students, and that really comes through in the experience that our students have in the classroom and outside of the classroom as well. So our average class size is 17 students. All of our classes are taught by faculty members. So it's a smaller school environment, but it does provide the opportunity for our students to be engaged and involved in a wide array of different things and find the balance that they seem to be looking for during their undergraduate career. So academically, we offer 29 majors, and actually it's now 32 minors, and just added a new one. But we really do emphasize that it's an environment where students are really actively engaged in the learning process in classes that are primarily seminar style classes where students and faculty are learning alongside each other. The faculty choose to teach at Lewis and Clark because they love the opportunities they get to know their students and to get to learn about them as people, but also to really encourage them, to mentor them, and to be guides as students are figuring out what their pathway looks like, both here on our campus and afterward as well. Liberal arts does mean, that you're going to take some general education requirements. You're also going to have some major requirements, and you're going to have quite a bit of flexibility built into your curriculum at Lewis and Clark. So it's okay to not know what you want to major in when you get there. You have to declare a major by the end of your sophomore year. So plenty of time to try out lots of different things, and that's something our students tend to do. This gives you a little bit of a sense of where our students are coming from. We do have 47 states and over 60 different countries represented on our campus. We definitely see students from a really wide array geographically. And in any first year class, we usually find somewhere between 28, 30, 32% of the class self-identifies as a student of color on the application. And nearly all of our students are receiving financial assistance. In addition to academics, the college experience has a very definitely a community component where students are looking to find their people. This slide shows a picture of something we call PIO Fair. And PIO Fair happens every fall. It's a wonderful opportunity for students to learn about all the different student organizations that they can get involved in. As I said before, they really do seem to get involved in a lot of different things. So this is kind of a fun annual tradition that happens on campus right after orientation. We feel very fortunate to be located where we are. As you can see from this image, downtown Portland is about 6 miles from our campus, the middle of downtown Portland. But our campus itself, if I dropped you on campus, you would have no idea you were in a city. It feels like you're in the woods. It was originally a private estate, so it's a very serene, peaceful setting with very much a designated campus environment. But you can hop on the shuttle bus, which is actually at the bottom of the P in this slide in Portland, and in 15 or 20 minutes be in the middle of downtown Portland. So amazing access to a great city, internships, community service, cultural events, food, weird donut shops, all of those cool Portland things, but without sacrificing that kind of quintessential campus environment. Beyond campus, we also are really well known for our outdoor opportunities. Our college outdoors program offers over 100 different trips a year, and over 90% of our students are going to participate in at least one of those programs while they're at Lewis and Clark, whether they're going to the ocean or the mountain or the lots of different places all around the Northwest region. We're also lucky to have within a 5-minute walk a state park, Tryon Creek State Park. So if our campus is not foresty enough, students have the ability to get into the actual forest very easily and very quickly. We also take seriously our commitment to a global perspective at Lewis and Clark. That's something that we feel strongly about. We sent our first overseas trips in 1952. The overseas experience is built into this global perspective that actually pervades across campus. But our programs in particular are really, really distinctive. Over 60% of our students will spend at least a semester overseas. Those are programs where they're going to travel with a professor from campus and with a small group of students from Lewis and Clark. And they're really intentionally designed to be culturally immersive programs. And the outcome of that is that our alumni have really amazing things to say about both the experience there, but also the impact that had on later choices that they made. We do believe that a college education should be 4 years. So we have a 4-year commitment. As long as you meet some very basic criteria, we expect you'll graduate in 4 years. If you don't, we'll pay for the 9th semester of classes. We also have great pathway programs to our programs in education and in the law school. So more information about that can be found online. Common App School, been test optional since 1991. All the basics you're probably going to hear from most others tonight about what we're looking for in an applicant. But we would love to be able to share more with you. So I'll put my email in the chat, and we look forward to sharing with you in the future. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that presentation. As a reminder to our attendees, if you do have questions, definitely don't hesitate to use that Q&A down below. Up next, Wooster Polytechnic Institute.
Thank you. All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. My name is Claudia Aviles. I'm an assistant director of admissions. My pronouns are she, her, hers. You have my contact information here if you're interested. I am the rep for Northern California. And today I'm going to give you some information on WPI, which stands for Worcester Polytechnic Institute. We are located about 50 miles west of Boston and about 180 miles north of New York City to kind of orient you and let you know where we are. And at WPI, we are a primarily STEM-focused university with a project-based curriculum. We offer a little over 50 degree programs, the most popular of which is engineering. We have 12 different flavors for you to try. We have a very popular computer science program that's currently the second most popular program at the university. And then we also have a subset of our students who will major in science and math fields, so majors like physics, biology, biochem, chem. These are options for students as well. Something I want to point out to students is that each year we do have about 20% of our student body, so first year students specifically, who enroll at WPI as undecided. They may know that they want to do something STEM related, but aren't exactly sure of what that is yet. That's okay. Know that when you're applying to the university, you're not applying to a specific major or school within the university. You're applying to the institution as a whole. And so we make our admissions decision to admit you or not based on the belief that you'd find success in any one of our STEM programs. And in terms of our student body size, we are about 4,500 undergraduates and about 2,000 graduate students. Our student to faculty ratio is 13:1, and we try to keep that on the smaller end because of the project-based curriculum we have so many opportunities for students to meet with professors. We do have the opportunity for students to double major and minor, and we also have an option for students to graduate in 4 or 5 years with the bachelor's and master's degree. So it isn't for everyone, and it is quite challenging, but for students who know that that's something that they want to do, if you're planning it early on with your faculty advisor, it is possible for you to accomplish. And we also have a 95% retention rate from a student's first year to their sophomore year. Definitely something we're very proud of. And also opportunities for students to conduct research at the undergraduate level with professors. It's as simple as emailing a professor about a research opportunity that you may be interested in. These are not only reserved for graduates, but undergraduates as well. So definitely have those opportunities to engage in research. And then some things that I want to point out about the university itself. We have a 7-week term system or a quarter system. So each term here is 7 weeks long, and students take 3 classes in each of the 7 weeks. So that's a little bit different. We're not the sort of traditional semester-based school. Students do have the opportunity to take courses over the summer through something that we have called e-term. We have a non-putative grading policy at WPI. This means that you can get 1 of 4 grades, an A, B, a C, or an R, which stands for no record. We also have a flexible curriculum where you can work with the faculty advisor to make sure that you're taking the courses necessary to meet the requirements of your major. So you have that guidance from the time that you declare your major at WPI. We also have the opportunity for our students to complete projects all around the globe. We have a little over 50 different project centers, some in the United States, but also abroad. And students will typically complete 2 main projects. We have a project called the IQP, which stands for the Interactive Qualifying Project, where they will typically go abroad. About 90% of our students will take us up on that offer to go abroad and do their IQP, or rather off campus. And then we have the MQP, which students complete in their senior year. It's like your capstone or research project, which you also have the opportunity to go abroad for. And we do give students up to $5,000 in a global scholarship to help pay for the cost that you may incur for one of these project centers. So we definitely want to make sure that that opportunity is accessible to all our students, if that's something that you're interested in. In terms of some opportunities for internships and our successive graduates, the Career Development Center each year has a little over 400 different companies come to campus to recruit. Students can do internships. Co-ops are available after your first year on campus. And then the Career Development Center also publishes a report each year called the First Destinations Outcome Report to help students kind of get a sense of where students go on to graduate school, where they're employed after WPI. So definitely a great resource for you to check out if you're interested in seeing employers and some of the things our graduates do beyond WPI. To tell you a little bit about campus life, we are primarily residential. First year students are guaranteed housing. Past your first year, you are not. So about 56% of upperclassmen do live on campus. We do have NCAA Division III varsity sports on campus. If you're not interested in playing at the varsity level, you can participate at the club or intramural level. And then we have a little over 250 clubs for students to participate in. Just to give you a quick overview of admissions, I won't go through some of the required documents, but just something that I want to point out is that we are test blind as of this coming season or this coming school year. So that's something for you to just keep in mind. And if you'd like, know that you can scan your phone for this QR code and get information from WPI. We do have live info sessions virtually, and then we are open this summer for visits, so you can check our schedule online. And with that being said, I'm going to pass it back, and thank you so much.
Thank you for that presentation. Up next, we have Whittier College.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome. My name is Charlie Newman. I'm one of the admission counselors at Whittier, which is actually also where I graduated from. So I always like talking about the school. I had a great 4 years, and I get now today and every day for the rest of my life paid to talk about it. So it's great. So to dive right in, we are a small private liberal arts school located in Southern California. So very close is right where we are, very close to Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, neighboring amusement park, a little bit smaller, just as fun. The Hollywood, entertainment capital of the world. So if you're looking for things like writing positions, writing internships, or anything with like film, theater, movies, anything like that at all, amazing pool of opportunities right there in the location. And then even things like engineering, whether it be aerospace with NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab up by Pasadena, SpaceX, or even technology up in Northern California, all in the same state. To talk about our academics, this is sort of our academic cheat sheet. So all of the bullets that are just bullets, you can major or minor in them. If they have an asterisk next to them, it's only available as a minor. Some things that I want to point out on this list, we have our engineering 3-2 program. So for anyone interested in engineering, through this program, you do 3 years of school here at Whittier, and then you go on to USC, who we have a partnership with, to finish up your engineering degree there. And they're a highly accredited school for engineering. So really best of both worlds. Liberal arts foundation at Whittier, finished up with the engineering degree at USC. And then pre-professional programs, so pre-health, pre-law, and the like. And then also our self-design major program, which we call the Whittier Scholars Program. This is actually what I did in my 4 years. I wanted to major in business ethics, which is a pretty standard degree, but as you can see, it's not on this list. So through this program, I combined a lot of the classes underneath the business umbrella with our organizational leadership classes and philosophy classes, and ended up creating the business ethics major. A classmate of mine, he combined business with marketing classes and theater, and I graduated with a degree in entertainment marketing. So it really lets you sort of hone in on that specific field within an industry that you want to go into. Quick fast facts, our student population is quite small, only about 1,700 students. So with that comes an average class size of 19, very discussion-based roundtable conversations in the classroom, student to faculty ratio 12:1. So our faculty have often an open door policy, extremely accessible. If you wanted to go to them to talk about extra time on a test or an assignment, or just the material itself, or just talk about life, talk about something you have going on that's getting in the way of your studies, they're more than happy to listen to you. They look at you as a human being, not just a letter grade, not just a number in a classroom. So really, you're not getting ignored whatsoever. You are the faculty and staff's #1 priority. At Whittier, we're really big with hands-on learning opportunities, so internships both on campus and off campus. The opportunities that are plentiful. Service opportunities. Whittier, we're really big on giving back to our community. So whether it be beach cleanups or working with neighboring high school, middle school, elementary school students with specific academic programs, or even talking to them about going to college. We do a lot of work with that. Fellowships, so getting paid to do a research project that you want to do. Amazing opportunity wherever you go, but Whittier has a great fellowship program. And then study abroad. Students can do a year, semester, or just 1 month. And after the completion of their second year at Whittier, you have access to what we call our Global Poet Scholarship. Our mascot is the Poets, that's what we call it that. And then GPS, really cute with location and everything. But that's $2,000 guaranteed to you towards any study abroad trip. So really highly encourage it, not just financially, but also because, of course, it's a great cultural learning experience. Speaking about culture and just diversity, we are an incredibly diverse school. We're actually in the top 15 percentile for diverse liberal arts schools in the nation. So really proud of that. The student body you see at Whittier is really reflective of the diversity you see in Southern California. So as a Whittier student, you'll have classmates from all different religions, ethnicities, socioeconomic backgrounds, gender identities, you name it. So bringing all these different perspectives into the classroom and even into the residence halls and the cafeteria too, really heightens the dynamic and experience you get at Whittier. Because you're not sheltered from anything or anyone, it really feels like it's your first step into the adult world, because once you graduate, you're going to get thrown into situations where you're talking to all sorts of kinds of people. And at Whittier, that happens right away. It's from orientation through graduation. You're exposed to new ideas, new people, and it really helps you grow outside of the classroom too. Financial aid, I just want to mention that we have lots of opportunities. We have this one, which is basically our merit scholarship. Everyone's automatically evaluated for need-based aid with FAFSA, leadership scholarship, which you can apply for if you feel you're a strong leader in your community. Talent scholarship, so if anyone has a knack for art, music, or theater, they can apply for this one. And then Raise Me awards micro scholarships too. Some fast things about our application process. We are on the Common App, which makes it very easy to use if you have any other schools on there. Essentially, a click of a button adds us to your list. We are test optional, so if you want to submit your test scores, great. If you don't want to, no harm done whatsoever. To give you a look at our average student that's come in this past year, in case you're wondering how you would fit in, GPA, middle 3 area, SAT breaks down to about 500 to 600 in each section, ACT right there in the middle, which is nice. And then our admissions plans, we do early action, which happens in the fall. The deadline for that is November 15th, and regular decision, which is February 1st for that deadline. You'll notice that we do not do early decision. So just keep that in mind as you look at other schools that may have that option. And then right there is my contact information. There's some things that we can't include in this short presentation. I do want to mention though, I was reminded from the last presenter here that we are Division III athletics. So worth mentioning if you're interested in athletics, we are Division III. So academics, always number one priority, but still pretty competitive with sports. And feel free to send me an email. I'll put it in the chat too if you have any questions, because 6 minutes for all of us is a criminally short amount of time. So reach out to us if you have any questions or want to talk more. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much for that presentation. And as a final reminder for our attendees, if you do have questions, we're here to answer them. So definitely don't hesitate to use that Q&A feature down below. Up next, we have College of Wooster.
Hi, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm really excited to share some information about the College of Wooster, located in Worcester, Ohio. My name is Sarah Ozar, and I am one of the admissions counselors here, and I work with families and students in Northern California. So my email address is right here, and we'll share it in the chat as well. So please feel free to reach out with any questions that you have. So as you're going through this college search, we want you to know what we believe makes Worcester different from the other schools that you are researching. And here are 3 takeaways. Worcester is America's premier college for mentored undergraduate research. The entire campus community benefits from our diverse student body, which is one that embraces its differences while supporting one another and celebrating traditions like no other school. And lastly, that we're fortunate to have a larger community in the city of Worcester around us that supports student life, service learning, and career exploration. So first, I want to touch on mentored research and what that means at Worcester. Worcester is a liberal arts and sciences college with just over 2,000 students, and we're really intentional about this. We believe it's an ideal size to provide the type of residential and academic environment that best prepares students for life after graduation. With an average class size of 18 and a small student to faculty ratio, we're committed to providing access to our professors. Their #1 priority at Worcester is offering high-touch mentoring and excellent teaching. Classes will be very interactive, and most are discussion-based. We also make sure that every Worcester student, not just those in certain majors or in honors programs, but every student completes at least one major research project prior to graduation. And in fact, it's required of all of our students in their senior year. And we refer to this experience as the Senior Independent Study, or IS for short. But not to worry, our curriculum and experiential learning are built intentionally to provide coursework and opportunities for students to discover and confirm what they are most passionate about. And then during their senior year, a professor within their major serves as an advisor and supports students every step of that process. So here are some examples from last year's graduating class, examples of the independent study projects. And at Worcester, you can see that research takes on many different forms. It is experimental, it's creative, it's analytical, or it can be all 3. And what we don't have listed here is our theater and music performances as well. So some quick notes about our beautiful campus. We're about 240 acres. We are entirely residential, and people often ask about the weather. We have all seasons, which unfortunately this week includes 65 degrees and snow for tomorrow. 17% of our student body is made up of international students and US citizens living abroad, making Worcester one of Ohio's most international campuses, and we rank 19th among all private liberal arts colleges in the US. And one thing that I think makes Worcester even more special is that you have students from all over the world who embrace each other's differences but also having this incredible sense of community and pride that you don't see at most schools of our size. We have a very vibrant student body. Clubs and organizations are academic, athletic, arts and culture-based, faith-based, performance-based. We have some Greek life and service and civil engagement groups as well. Most students at Worcester are involved in a number of activities throughout their time here. So we have a marching band complete with a bagpipe and drum corps. We have an orchestra, 7 a cappella groups, the Wooster chorus, and multiple ensembles. And while we do have a music major, anyone can participate in these groups. We are an NCAA Division III school, and we have 23 varsity sports. We compete in the North Coast Athletic Conference, and students can also participate in numerous intramural and club sports as well. And the Scott Center, which is our athletic and recreation center, is open to all students to remain active throughout the year. And theater performances are produced throughout the academic year, giving opportunities to students for acting and behind the scenes work. And like music, we do have a theater and dance major, but any student can participate in the productions. And we also have an improv group. So the city of Worcester, Ohio is located just about an hour south of Cleveland, 40 minutes from Akron, Canton, and about an hour and a half from the state capital of Columbus. And all of those cities do have airports as well that students use. And our students love that they can take advantage of the commercial district on the north end of town, but also can enjoy the individually owned coffee shops, boutique stores, and restaurants in our historic downtown, which you see pictured here. And students go into the local community for many experiential learning opportunities. And pictured here, you see one of our health coaches, which is in partnership with the local community hospital, giving patients increased care while providing valuable hands-on experience for students interested in a medical field. And our Worcester Volunteer Network is one of our biggest student organizations. And here you see students planting trees in a local park. And speaking of which, Worcester students utilize the area's many parks to get outside as often as possible. So just one quick endorsement to share. In his new book, The Price You Pay for College, New York Times columnist Ron Lieber praises Worcester for its exceptional combination of quality faculty, affordability, and undergraduate research. Lieber devotes an entire chapter to answering how the College of Worcester puts it all together, highlighting Worcester's upfront attitude in helping prospective students understand the financial package they will receive and the satisfaction students get from faculty mentorship. So I hope you liked what you heard, and some next steps for you here is to engage with us virtually or in person. And you can find information about our application details, including deadlines and merit and financial aid. And if you have any questions, there again is my email address. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Our final institution for this session is Barnard College.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here and sticking it out to the end. My name is Lily Brown. I'm an admissions counselor in the Barnard College Office of Admissions, and I use she, her pronouns. To get us started to talking about Barnard, we like to think of ourselves as an undergraduate institution that has 4 unique pillars. And Charlie might have heard me say this earlier, but so it sounds like I'm paid to say this. The reality is I am paid to say it, but I also believe it. I think because of these 4 pillars, Barnard really is the most unique option for students like you. I can't think of another institution that offers all 4 of these pillars in one. So to start us off, we our first pillar being our identity as a liberal arts college. So we are a small private liberal arts institution with 2,600 students total, with a curriculum that focuses on interdisciplinary and hands-on research learning. Our second pillar is our identity as a women's college. Some history there is that in 1889, when Barnard was founded, Frederick A.P. Barnard, who at the time was the 10th president of Columbia University, and Columbia University remained an all-male institution until 1983. Frederick A.P. Barnard said, hey, you know, women are smart. We should have them in our classrooms. We should admit women to Columbia. The Board of Trustees said no. So he said, okay, I'll just start my own college where women can take courses. And thus for Barnard. But what it really means to go to a women's college in 2021 is that you're always going to be in an environment where the presence of women is celebrated. And I'll talk more about that in a couple of slides. Our third pillar is our unique partnership with Columbia University, in which, and as you heard historically, we've always sort of had something to do with Columbia, and what that looks like today, now that Columbia is also a co-ed, is now a co-ed institution, It's that we cross-register for classes. All of our academic and extracurricular experiences are shared between both campuses as well. And just to give you an idea sort of physically of what that looks like, everything on this picture that's behind the books icon, the grad cap, and the crown are Barnard's campus, and then everything that's behind the Empire State Building icon is Columbia's campus. And the street, so we are directly across the street from each other. So the street that divides us is Broadway, which brings me to our fourth pillar, our identity as an urban campus in New York City. If you go to Barnard, you'll be in Manhattan, you'll have a Broadway address, and you'll tell your friends to smell you later. But what that really means is that Barnard students use New York City as their extended classroom, both academically, but also pre-professionally. Just to give you some hot numbers and figures about Barnard, this is all definitely online, but just to give you a sense of who we are. Definitely a diverse student population, and also in terms of our academic experiences, as we said, liberal arts college, interdisciplinary. You'll see lots of different departments represented in the top departments from our most recent graduating class of 2020. To dive right into our liberal arts experience, these are the requirements that you need to graduate from Barnard College. This is called our Foundations curriculum, and it was designed to prepare our students to be critical thinkers in the 21st century. There's a lot of text here. I'm not going to go into too much of a deep dive. The main thing I do want to highlight is the senior experience. It is required that all students in their senior year create self-directed and original research that is connected to their majors. I meant to say this earlier, I'm also an alum of Barnard. So for my senior experience, I was a history major. I wrote a thesis for a year, very fun, great research, but it really depends on what you intend to major in. So I had friends who majored in neuroscience who created their own self-directed experiments and published the results for their senior experience. To talk more about our identity as a women's college, I know I can speak from experience. A women's college was not on my radar when I was a high schooler. I sort of ended up at Barnard for a variety of different reasons. But at the end of the day, Barnard's identity as a women's college is the reason I stayed. I think the main thing that you gain from attending a women's college as a female identifying person is that you are always going to be learning skills to derive power from your gender identity in a variety of spaces, be that the classroom, your professional spaces, interpersonal relationships. And I know that that's a skill you cannot gain from co-ed institutions. To dive more into our partnership with Columbia University, so as I said earlier, all of our resources are shared both academically and extracurricularly. This picture right here is taken from one of the study rooms in Barnard's library. So Columbia students often come over to Barnard's campus to study, hang out with friends, we share our dining halls. The same number of, it's almost an equal distribution of Columbia students taking courses on Barnard's campus and Barnard students taking courses on Columbia's campus. Also, all of our extracurriculars are shared. And just because something is Barnard College Club blank doesn't mean that Columbia students aren't in it. And similarly, just because something is Columbia University Club blank doesn't mean Barnard students aren't in it. To give you an example, the Columbia Daily Spectator, which is Columbia's student newspaper. Every year that I was a student at Barnard, there was only one academic year where the editor-in-chief was not a Barnard student. So the sort of power within your gender identity that you're deriving on Barnard's campus definitely extends to how you carry yourself on Columbia's campus and beyond. Speaking of beyond, our location in New York City, for me, the main thing I wanted out of a college experience was to go to a school in an urban environment. And to be honest, I can't think of one more urban than New York City. This picture was taken on the roof of one of our residential halls. And so you'll see, you have Columbia's campus to the left here, but also you can see the whole skyline, Empire State Building at sunset. Ooh, ah. But what New York City means, when we say we're using New York City as our extended classroom, what that means is that academically, your classes are always going to take you out to the city in some way or another. I would say most structurally how that happens is we have a requirement called thinking locally, part of our foundations curriculum. And you can fulfill that through any department. So for example, if you are interested in environmental science, one of the thinking locally classes is to go out on a boat in Hudson River and on the Hudson River, take samples and analyze them in environmental science labs at Barnard. And finally, I will say, because I know Clarissa has popped up here, that professionally, what that means is that New York City is the hub of internships. And so you don't have to spend, your summer in New York City figuring it out. You can spend your whole 4 years at Barnard really diving into different professions that the city has to offer.
Thank you everyone for giving us those great presentations. I'm going to invite our presenters to come back to answer a question for you guys to give you a little bit more insight. So we will be answering what is your favorite event or tradition on your campus, and we'll go in presentation order. So we'll start with Villanova.
Yes, so my favorite event that Villanova puts on each year is our Fall Festival. Villanova is actually home to the largest student-run Special Olympics event in the world, which in its term Fall Festival, so brings over 1,000 athletes from Pennsylvania surrounding states to campus. Just a huge weekend-long extravaganza, and I really feel it's a time where you see the entire campus community pitching in for these athletes, and just a time when the university is its best self. So that's my favorite.
Lewis and Clark College.
Yeah, Lewis and Clark, one of the traditions we have is something called Once Upon a Weekend. And on a Monday of a given week in the spring, the theater department posts a general idea or topic or subject, and then anyone from the campus community is welcome to submit a one-act play that they write that week about it, or centered on that topic. And then they select a set of those to put on Friday. They make the selections. And then on Saturday, they cast them, they rehearse them. And on Sunday, they present this set of one-act plays that has literally transpired in the course of a week. It's a wonderful way for a wide array of students to get a little bit of exposure to theater that doesn't have a long-term commitment. So.
Wooster Polytechnic Institute.
Yeah, so one of my favorite traditions would have to be the International Food Festival, because I love anything that's related to food. But the International Student Council will put out a call to the community to ask folks who's interested in cooking a cultural dish. And you have students, staff, faculty members participate in the event. And we all get together and share a meal. And it's just a great way to connect with students and to connect with other staff members. And it's an event that I really enjoy every single year. And this International Student Council was even able to do it. Even with COVID, they organized times where we could pick up, where the community could pick up kind of like to-go meals, which was really nice.
Whittier College.
Yeah, so one of my favorite traditions is that we have this giant boulder sort of like plopped in the middle of the campus. It was brought as a senior prank way back in the early 1900s. 3 seniors went up to the mountains by Whittier, found this giant rock, and on horse and buggy, no less, hauled it on down, dropped it on campus, and told the school, well, what are you going to do about it? And the school decided to counter prank those students, and they embraced it. And that's now like it's like an iceberg. It's like halfway buried in the ground, but you still see a huge chunk of it. And students and organizations on campus paint the rock, and it's like a billboard on campus. Monday through Friday, a different student or organization paints it, and it sort of serves as, like I said earlier, a billboard. So you want to see like what time is this weekend's school play showing? It's probably painted on the rock. Or if there's like anything about students or a group showing solidarity over any kind of event, they'll use that rock too. So it can be for something like really fun or really amazing. It can be for bringing the community closer together, but it's all thanks to this just goofy little rock on campus. So I love that we paint it every day.
College of Wooster.
So there are a lot of traditions actually at Worcester for a smaller school, and one that I didn't mention the tradition, but I did talk about the independent study earlier during my presentation. And all independent studies are due by 5 p.m. on the Monday after spring break. So at that time, there is a huge kind of costume-clad, bagpipe-led parade that goes all through campus, and it's really fun. Students have a great time. The seniors love it. It's a great time to celebrate with the students that you've been working with, and friends and professors, and the whole campus community comes out to celebrate as well.
And Barnard College.
My favorite event that happens yearly on campus is the Athena Film Festival, which is housed on Barnard's campus and really is an international film festival that showcases women in film, both behind the camera and in front of the camera. And besides being a great way to sort of, have my pulse on what's happening in the film industry. So my favorite sort of anecdote from the Athena Film Festival is that one of our alums is Greta Gerwig. She graduated in 2006, writer and director of Lady Bird. And she really credits Athena Film Festival to getting her start in film and realizing that she didn't have to be an actress to be in film. She could also be a director.
Wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. When you close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey, and we would appreciate any feedback you can give us. And in about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording at the same site where you registered. Again, thank you for joining us and have a good evening.